Hello, my howlers. Sako Toomey here, also known as Castboy, and today I'm going to talk about sigils and beyond. So, there are tons of blog posts and videos on how to create sigils and the many ways to do so. However, there are also ways to charge the sigil, ways to activate the sigil, alternate uses for the sigil, and nobody's talking about what to do with those sigils once you've drawn them. So I'm gonna do that today. So we are going to walk through every single one of those things. We're going to talk about how to draw a sigil. We're going to talk about how to charge those sigils, how to activate those sigils, and then miscellaneous uses that you can totally use for said sigils. So first, let's go into how to create the sigil. It's kind of a recap of other videos. If this is too brief, then there are a gazillion better made videos out there on YouTube. Go check them out. So first, set an intention. There's two ways to do this. You can do it this my will, and then your intention. Let's say I will have, coffee. Or you can word it, I already have. Specifically, let's be specific, delicious coffee. So one is future tense and one is present tense. Both are correct, whatever works for you. Once you have your intention, go ahead and drop your vowels and your doubles. We'll go into that a little more on the next screen. Consider using other languages. Consider using other alphabets. For instance, Theban, which is often used for small tools and jewels. Celestial would be for ceremonial magic. Enochian, I've only ever seen tattooed on people. And Ogam, which is used for stabs and stones. And then on top of that, if you continue to use the Roman alphabet, consider using other fonts. Your handwritten font, or maybe like a fancy witchy font, or maybe a black letter. I mix these things, cursive, whatever looks good, right? So why don't we see what it looks like in practice? So this is what I ended up with. What I did was I had the Roman alphabet, the Theban alphabet, the Celestial alphabet, and the Ogam alphabet. And I kind of used them interchangeably, and this is what I got. So my intention was Mars has released the police because, frankly, Mars is a war god, and war has no place where citizens are involved. But that's another discussion, right? So Mars has released the police. I'll go ahead and play the production. It does do it in double time. I used one of each letter. Whatever the alphabet, didn't matter, but I don't normally use this method, but maybe I will in the future, I don't know. Especially for important stuff like this. Now let's get into how to charge that shiz. First off, one of the more powerful ways is via sex magic. I'm not gonna lie. I could do a whole video on the concept of sex magic, though it's a pretty simple concept. If you are going to do it with another person, make sure they consent and they know what's going on before you start doing stuff. They need to know what your goals are. Don't just like spring it. Have them not know that you're actually doing magic work. It's not fair to them. But masturbation, totally great. Orgasm, totally the best way. Oh, deprivation. I almost forgot about that one. You can starve yourself of air. So plug your nose, plug your mouth, starve yourself of air, shut your eyes real tight. And then when you can't take it anymore, take in that breath, focus on your sigil. That first breath will funnel into your sigil. Also, the orgasm itself has a very similar effect, but I think it's more powerful. High emotion. So if you're super pissed off, you're absolutely depressed, you're extremely happy, you can funnel those strong emotions while you're drawing your sigil, and it will also charge your sigil. Next would be, I said energy and stonework, but let's parse those apart. Stonework would be like your amethysts, your tourmaline, your citrine, your aventurine. Depending on the intention that you've set will determine what kind of stone that you'll need. However, clear quartz and amethyst, probably doesn't matter what it is that you set your intention to be, they work for everything. Now, energy work, there's a bunch of different ways to do this. Like I said before, the high emotion, I can tap into that most times and funnel it. High emotion. I can feel energy anyway. Again, that deprivation, that energy work, also chi, for those who have power over their chi. Super, super great way to charge your sigil. And just, for lack of a better term, energy. You can also do different activities, right? Have it on your person, but go on a roller coaster or go swimming. We'll get into some of the passive and active ways of activating, but a lot of those will work for charging as well. So now we're getting into activation. There are two kinds of activation. There are active activation and passive activation. Active activation usually involves destruction in some manner. You can write it on a piece of paper. Once it's on paper, you can burn it, which is very common. You can submerge it in water until it basically falls apart or fades away. You can roll it up in a cigarette and smoke it. You can draw it in the air and push your hand through it to destroy it. Another destructive way would be to rip it in half. Another would be earth, right? Because you need all four elements, sure. You can bury it, especially if it's something that you need to cultivate, not something that you need to grow. Sometimes it's really good for bindings or curses. Again, it depends on what you're asking the earth to do. Passive activation focuses on permanence. So you can draw it on your skin, like you can have it tattooed, you can do it in henna. I do it in Sharpie. You can carve, which is extremely common. Most often you'll see it carved into candles, but you can carve it into wood, metal, soap, pretty much anything. And lastly, drawing. So I charge things and activate them while I'm actually constructing the sigil. That also taps into that energy work that I was talking about earlier. Now let's get into alternate uses for our sigil. Besides typical ritual work like we just talked about with the active and the passive, we can also put it into our everyday lives. You can write it on a piece of paper, put it in the bottom of our shoes, either on the inside or the outside. I need to do that to my shoes, frankly. We can, and I find this interesting, tagging, right? Spray paint on buildings, on walls, on, stuff. That's part of that passive permanence drawing sort of energy work. During the protests, there have been chaos sigils popping up all over the country, so our chaos witches are watching out for us. You can print it out and stick it in your wallet, or have an amulet made and stick that in your wallet. So I keep this on my phone at all times. They're talismans, which are basically like sigils that you take with you. I also have this guy, which is a talisman, but I'll get into talismans in another video. You can make a keychain out of it, like I did with my talismans. You can make a label and pretty much slap it on anything that's inside the container will be charged. So you can do it on your water bottle, on your sundries. I basically imbued a bunch of stickers and I put them on my conditioner, my body wash, my shampoo, my face wash, all that stuff. I set them up to be glamour, which is like, to make me hot. But you can pretty much imbue that stuff to do anything. The back of your watch, the back of your phone, I can show you actually. So I made this wallpaper, which I need to put back up really for my art. This is a phone wallpaper. Really great way to use a sigil. And lastly, you can do your cosmetics. I glamoured. Oh, this isn't just glamour. This is also my witchcraft. May I learn my witchcraft more efficiently, basically, to aid in the learning of witchcraft. This is black lipstick. I guess it didn't want to be tagged because the lid cracked. So that was ways that you can charge your sigil, ways that you can activate your sigil, and various uses for your sigils. If you liked this video, please hit that like button. If you would like to see the rest of the Chaos Witch videos that I'm going to be doing over the next couple of months, please hit that subscribe button. And if you click that bell, maybe it'll actually send you the video when it goes live. I noticed the algorithm is shifting, so maybe it won't do that. I don't know. We'll see. But I will catch you guys on the flip side.